Yeah,
fact that you have branded your show in such a beautiful way, the MJ show, it's mostly and primarily around music in all its elements. You say a
yeah,
lot of people will come up to you and they're like, "We want to come to the MJ show."
yeah,
Has there ever been a situation where you've had to tell no to someone because there is a
yeah.
surplus of people like हमको आना है boss भाई
No,
क्या हो रहा?
it's no, it's never about surplus. It's about whether that person's content fits with me. I mean, I have always, from day one till today, I have always claimed only one thing to anybody who's come on my show. I have never charged anybody money to be featured on my show, and I have never paid anybody money to get them on my show. So
Okay.
I've done close to 400 episodes of the MJ show with the biggest names in the music industry, and I haven't paid them. And the youngest people who've come on my show also, they haven't paid me to be on my show. And I've always wanted to keep this as legitimate a platform as possible. The only thing sort of which checks that legitimacy quotient is my opinion, very frankly, because if I don't like the person's music, not the person's music or the person's content, then I will not feature them on my show. It's as simple as that. But if I like your song, and it could be your first single, you could be 16 years old, and if I like your song, I'm more than happy to have you on my show and talk to you and find out why you made that song. You could be 45, 50, 60 years old, and you could have made a song, and I just don't like it, and you don't have a body of work that I want to really talk about, and you will not come on my show. So that's been
It's content which
my, yeah,
matters.
it's content. Simple. It's, if you
Quality
got
content.
great content, if you got quality content, you can come on my show and you can talk about it. And I'll give you an example. I remember I had Arman Malik on my show when he was 18 or 19 years old. He'd put out 2 songs in the music industry at that point of time, 2 or 3 songs, and he had his
Okay.
own independent music album. He wasn't the mega star Arman Malik that we all know right now. But back then as well, I thought, oh man, this guy's music is great. He wasn't a superstar back then, but he was this 19-year-old kid who was so talented, was so brilliant. I said, I got to talk to him. I remember Prakriti and Sukriti Kakkar came on my show. I think they were the youngest people back then on my show. They must have been 18 or 17 years old when they came on my show. I think they released one song back then. I had them because I thought they were talented. They were really, really good at what they were doing. They sounded great. They harmonized great. I mean, if you go back and see some of the episodes of season 1, there are people who are now really, really massive, but back then they had just probably started off their journey, or they were just in the first few years of their music journey. And I have seen them grow over the last 7-8 years, and I had them back then purely because they were really good. But because I started with people like Vishal Shekhar, Ehsan, Kavita Seth, some really big legendary people. So it's not, I could have said that, hey, I want to only get people of this stature. I want to get only Vishal Shekhar, and I want to get only Salim Merchant, and I want to get Shankar Mahadevan and Amit Trivedis and all of those. And I've got most of these people to come on my show. But I said, I don't want to stick only to the legend, so to say, or the current
The
most
persons who've
popular
already
people.
established themselves.
Yeah, I also want to find the new guys. I also want to find the talented new people who I feel that, okay, I can talk to them and maybe get more people to know a little bit more about them, find out a little bit more about their story and what makes them tick. So for me, it's simple. Like you said, good content gets you entry on the MJ show. And if your content is not good, I've had the unfortunate, what do you call it, displeasure of telling people that I'm sorry, man, but I can't feature this. And this was exactly what I did back in the day on radio as well. Because on FM Rainbow, you got to choose your music. And when people started realizing, Indian bands, Indian artists started realizing that, hey, there is one radio jockey in Mumbai. This is about 15, 16 years ago, where there weren't any indie music shows on radio, at least not in Mumbai. And I was the one person who was playing English independent music on radio as well, because I used to play English music on radio. So a lot of bands started sending me songs, demo cassettes. I mean, not cassettes, CDs and whatever. But there were so many people whom I had to say that, I'm sorry, I can't really play this music. Or, I'll find that there may be one song on your album which I may be able to play, but I can't really play the rest. So
Entire
it
thing.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I'm not claiming that I am the end all and be all of music, that I decide what is good and what is bad, but I decide what goes on my show. So, I'm not saying that my opinions are what you should also care about. but there are enough people who do, so I'm happy to cater to them. I mean, I think I've spent enough years in the industry to say that, okay, I have a decent way of determining what's good and bad, and again, based on my personal choices and experience, but also from the feedback that I've got from my audience. When back in the day when I was on radio, when I used to play the music that I did, a lot of people wrote to me or called me up and said, we are loving the music. So for me, that was a validation back then, knowing that, okay, the choices that I'm making are good. There are no songs which I'm getting a complaint for and saying, hey man, why are you playing this song? It's such a bad song. Or same thing with the content on the MJ show. All the people I interview, even new people, I get messages saying, wow, I had no idea who this person was, and I'm in love with their music, or I'm in love with who they are right now. So for me, I think I've got enough validation from my audience, and I think enough sort of opinions of my own to sort of stick with that now and
So
for the
over time,
future
you
as well.
have developed a good amount of exposure, because the amount of time you've been on radio, you made
Yeah.
music, you have a show of your own, and if I know I'm not wrong, in 2015 you got a GIMA award as well.